started. Good morning and welcome to Tuesday morning Zoom. We're going to be doing a little review on modifiers. So modifier test is up. I know that I had the wrong due date on it, so it has been opened back up until I believe Sunday is the due date now. So I also want to point out that if for some reason you take that test and it gives you a bad grade, I'm going back through and looking, because when you put in a short answer, it has to be exact or it marks it wrong. So if you like put a little space into something or you don't put a dash in front of something. So when these coding scenarios and different things, I do go back through and look to make sure the answer is right or wrong, because the short answers can be a little tricky. So anyway, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You guys know the Google slide lady is in the house today. Before we get into that, I just felt like I wanted to add a little bit of encouragement today. Our encouragement meme is, you cannot change your future, but you can change your habits, and surely your habits will change your future. So why did I choose this? Because I just wanted to personally challenge you, and I'm challenging myself too. What are you doing to prepare yourself for your career? Are you pushing yourself? Are you learning everything you can learn? Are you practicing professionalism? I just want you guys to understand that once you get into this career, and there's so many options, that it's going to be a lot of information. It's going to be challenging because things ebb and flow and change. And I just want to encourage you to start planning for your future and just make some personal changes that you feel you need to make in order to make that future be more successful. Okay, all right. Okay, so we're going to review modifiers, chapter 10. So let's talk about what is a modifier. CPT modifiers, they actually just inform the third-party payer of extenuating circumstances that may affect the CPT code. You can find a list of modifiers with detailed notes in Appendix A of your CPT. And modifiers can indicate some of the following: altered service, services greater than usually required, unusual circumstances, part of a service, a discontinued service, bilateral procedures, multiple procedures, professional part of a service, procedure only, more than one physician or surgeon. So as you guys have been doing your exercises, you probably are going to recognize those. Modifiers complete the story for insurance carriers to determine reimbursement. Consider using a modifier when the CPT code does not complete the story. Because remember, that's what we're telling our third-party payers. We're telling them the whole story of a patient. Okay, so this next part is going to actually be your assignment. I have number 1 through 15. So what I want you to do is I want you to set a timer, and I want you to quiz yourself and find these modifiers. Then I want you to submit to me how long it took. There is no judgment in how long it takes. I just want you to time yourself. Please don't overthink it, and please have fun with it. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is I have a small portion of our CMS 1500 form. I wanted to point out that where your modifiers will go into this form, and it's in Part D. If you see CPT or HCPCS code goes in the first little part of Part D, and then your modifiers go in the next part. I want to make sure you understand 99.9% of the time, those are going to be filled out by the computer. So just showing you the form, when you're doing billing and you are putting in that piece of paper will pop up, it auto-generates a little bit differently. Whenever I did billing, when I was a cardiology coder, you have a billing system at your place of work. And it's going to say date of service. You're going to have your super bill or your medical record, and you just get your date of service and you put your date of service in. Then it's going to ask you what your CPT code is. And you're going to get that from your super bill or your medical documentation, and you're going to put your CPT code in. And it's going to ask you for modifiers. Now, if you're the biller, your coder has already put your modifiers on your super bill or on whatever form you're using to do your billing. Does that make sense? You're going to have a piece of paper as a biller. It can be a super bill. Every place uses something different. So that's why I'm unsure of what to tell you, but we'll just call it a super bill. And then sort of like when you were doing the SIMS charting and you were putting in the demographics, you were putting in the patient's name, you're going to have that sort of thing, except it's going to be just for billing. And so you're just taking the information off of your super bill and putting it into your system, and then it auto generates into that CMS 1500 form, and then it goes off electronically. But if you ever had to fill one out by hand, which I've never done, just FYI, it always went electronically, that is where your modifiers would be found, in that little D section. I hope that I helped and didn't make it more confusing. Okay, so modifiers go in this part of the D boxes. Okay, so now we're going to get into our review. If you don't have your CPT manuals handy, please grab those now. So we're going to do multiple choice first. So let's read number 1. Modifiers may affect A, healthcare premiums. What's a premium? A premium is what you pay every month for your healthcare, just in case you forgot that key term. It affects the type of treatment provided. It could affect the way payment is made by a third-party payer or code selection. So which one of those could a modifier affect?
C.
C, the way the payment is made by a third-party payer. Very good. So the next one, modifiers are used to indicate what type of information? Bilateral procedures, multiple procedures, service greater than usually required, or all of the above?
D.
All of the above.
All of the above. Okay, so modifier 51, which is multiple procedures. I just am looking on the back of my CPT manual. Modifier 51, multiple procedures, is used on what type of services? Evaluation and management, surgery, or anesthesia, or all of the above?
D.
It is D, all of the above, because you can have multiple procedures in any of those, in anesthesia, in surgery, in evaluation and management. So D, all of the above. All right, so now we're going to move into some scenarios. Mr. Jones is admitted to the hospital by the orthopedic surgeon for severe hip pain. The ortho surgeon provides an initial hospital visit during which it is determined that Mr. Jones has a fractured hip that will require surgical intervention. Mr. Jones is taken later that day to the OR, where Dr. Ortho performs the surgical procedure to repair Mr. Jones's hip. Which modifier would you use for the hospital visit? So what did we decide in this hospital visit? We're not really necessarily doing his surgical repair. We're doing that he was seen at the hospital visit. We made a decision for surgery.
Surgical, yeah.
Yeah, we needed surgical intervention. So what what modifier would we use for surgical intervention? Our decision for surgery.
$57.
57.
Yeah, 57. 57 is decision for surgery. I know, because we love coding, we want to make this all about the code, right? But remember, we're just learning about the modifiers that we are later going to attach to those codes. Mrs. Roberts falls at work. She claims that she is all right, but her employer's workers' compensation policy requires that she see a physician to confirm she was not injured when she fell. The physician files a claim to the workers' compensation carrier. Which modifier would you use when reporting the physician's service to the patient? Okay, I'm going to help out a little bit with this one because it doesn't say exactly. The employer is mandated to contact workers' compensation.
Mhm.
It's part of a mandated service. So when you see workers' compensation, you need to automatically think about a mandated service. And I chose this one on purpose so we could talk about it. So mandated service is modifier
32.
32. So when you see workman's compensation and you have to attach a modifier, what are you automatically going to think of? Modifier 32, mandated services, because they are mandated that they must file a workman's compensation claim. What modifier would you use if you were coding only for the professional component of a diagnostic procedure?
26.
26. Okay, I'm going to ask you, if you were only going to code the technical component, do you know what you would use? TC, technical component.
Okay. Yeah, we had one like that on something.
Yeah. So this next thing says, are you ready? Which simply means, are you ready for your exam? So is there anything else you guys would like to talk about or would like to work on together?
I think that's, with the codes and everything, it's pretty much, I guess when I first started, I think we're going all the way back.
Yeah, you're going
So,
around that circle. Going around
Yeah.
that circle. Well, I have to tell you that next, at the end of this week or soon, we're starting chapter 11. It's E&M coding. I want to give you some advice. If you listen to this, you will get through E&M without any issues. You must be in your CPT manual. You can read that information because chapter 11 is a long chapter and it's, I assign the reading and I chop it up, but I'm telling you, if you pull out your manual and you go to E&M, and I am going to try to show you guys. No, I'm going to show you guys. I have it labeled. I have consults. I have all kinds of different things. Every little bitty section of that E&M is labeled. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you're reading a scenario and it says Mrs. Jones went for a consult for Dr. Cardiology today, and this is what was blah, 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 blah. You're going to automatically be able to pull up consults, and it's right here. So I'm going to challenge you, and maybe if I pull my camera down, I did not plan on this, guys, so just forgive me if it doesn't look great. So you can see that I have put consult, prevention services. I would definitely label prevention services because that's like if you go to the gynecologist or something like that, it's just a preventative, it's going to be found there. Then you have like telemedicine, pediatric and newborn. There's all these different sections in there that have all these different codes that go for that specific specialty. Psychology services. So begin to get in your E&M section when you have a spare moment and really look at those sections and label them and see what's there. Explore your CPT manual, because the more comfortable you are in your manuals, the more successful you are in your coding. Does that make sense? Do you guys see what I did? I am not saying you have to do that. Oh, I'm going to show you up top too. I put, this says hospital. So if they're going into the hospital as an inpatient, I went ahead and did that one. And then this one says the ER. So I made little ones for different things, because it makes me more comfortable to know where I'm going. If I'm not just dealing with the basic in office, new patient or established patient, I want to be able to go to the section. If it's observation patients, look at that. You know, those are key terms that we've been pulling up. Observation, inpatient, outpatient, it all is so important in that E&M section. So I'm actually going to be doing some, I'm going to be popping up some lectures on little parts of the manual. I'm not going to make them long. I think I've already done one on 99201 through 99215. And you'll see that when you get to that specific assignment. But for example, if CPT code 99211, who would use that? Well, if you go in and you read, you're going to see, but I tell you in that video that nurse practitioners or physician's assistants use that code the most, because that's when you're going into the office and you're established, and they may just want to check your blood pressure, your blood sugar. They're just doing that quick appointment, but you don't really need to see the physician. So there are going to be tidbits that I'm giving you in these little pop-up lecture videos. Like I said, they're not going to be long. I'm just hitting certain portions so that you're more comfortable with what you're doing. And you're going to need to pay close attention to modifier 24 and 25 for E&M services. If you read your modifiers, it's going to say evaluation and management in those. And so, you know, but we'll be putting those modifiers together with those CPT codes. So it's all going to start falling together. Any questions? I appreciate you guys spending time with me today. I hope you learned something. Jasmine, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. I hope you have a wonderfully blessed day. I'm so glad I got to see y'all. If you need anything, please let me know. Bye, guys.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.